Africa, welcome to Afternoon Express. I'm Bonnie Booley. We are midway through the week, and boy, do we have an inspiring installment of the show for you today. Today, we're joined by one of South Africa's most acclaimed writers, Sindiwe Magona. She's here to share her story from being a domestic worker in her younger days to a 20-year career in the United Nations and winning countless international awards. We're also joined by the creators of two uniquely South African children's dolls. The first is Ntombenhle, the Ntombenhle doll, and the second is the Momppy Mpoppy doll. We'll be giving away some of those too, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Speaking of children and playing, Danilo's in the kitchen.
Oh man, I was about to say, hey dolls. So you're talking about the dolls on the show today. Good afternoon, South Africa, and welcome to Afternoon Express. My name is Danilo Akwison. So good to be with you this Wednesday afternoon. And the reason why I'm so excited is because we're taking a new sort of spin on something so traditional and classic in the kitchen today. Best friend, besties. Hey,
That's
Clem.
what I thought you were going to say. You're so excited because you're back in the kitchen with me, but now not.
That is what it is. And I missed the show so much yesterday, so I had to come and join you. Today, we're taking a kind of twist on a curry, which I think is really exciting. We're baking it.
We're baking it, and because we're talking about budgets this week and we're focusing on budget meals, this is the ultimate budget meal.
Lovely.
So you're going to see why it's a bake, why it's a curry, why it's budget friendly.
Yeah.
You're going to get it.
Curry is one of those words you have to learn in Jamaica because if you get injured, someone might have to curry you to the hospital.
I'm walking.
All right. You can also carry yourself to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. That's where you can find the recipe and the shopping list for this individual recipe and for all the recipes we make on the show today. Let's kick it off with less fun and laughter right here on the couch.
I'm really glad we're making curry in the loft today because it's one of Mum Sindiwe Magona's favorite dishes. Now, she was born in the Transkei in 1943, and today, at the tender age of 72, she's one of the most influential women in South Africa. She's an international award-winning novelist, poet, playwright, civil servant, humanitarian. She's worked for the United Nations, and she was even a teacher. We're honored to have her join us in the loft today. Mum Sindiwe Magona, welcome to the loft.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here.
Wow. You know what? You are a superwoman. Okay. So you are the first of 8 children. And
Not the second.
Were you the second?
Yeah, but the eldest of the daughters.
Oh,
That's
I
a special.
see.
There's a special,
It's a special
designation
honor.
for that lady who is the eldest of the daughters, Umafungwash.
Umafungwash.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm already getting an education here. Okay, and then you had a child at a really young age.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, you've turned your life around. You corresponded your matric and your undergraduate degree with UNISA while raising a child at a really young age.
I was raising 3.
3?
Yes.
Okay, you are a unicorn. So how did you do it all? How did it all happen?
You know, what really helped when I look back is that although I come from peasant stock, neither of my parents finished primary school. Excuse me. But they were there they are.
Yes,
they were hands-on parents. They really took parenting as a sacred duty, a God-given duty. Of course, I wanted to trade them in as a child. I wanted
all
a better,
do.
I wanted a better self, not so strict. But when I found myself at 23, a single parent, I had to think deep about what it meant for me, because I had grown up with this myth that there would always be a man who would love and honor me and feed me and clothe me and my children. Well, that's a myth. That man was gone.
Wow.
But I had to fall back on my own childhood and the parenting I had received. And I felt, now that I was a single parent, it didn't mean that my children would have half a parent. I would have to double up for the absent parent. And the only way I could figure out to make things work was to better my education.
Well, I actually read your autobiography a couple of years ago that described that whole journey. It definitely wasn't easy. I mean, you were living in a house with 13 other people. When did you actually get to study?
Yeah, I became very smart very soon after being foolish for very quickly. I mean, to have 3 kids by age 23 is a disaster. But then to have the husband, the so-called, I had to wise up fast to have the so-called husband walk out on you. I really had to start thinking, what do I do now? I knew that in my mother's house, there was no way I could wait for ideal conditions. I came back from work, had my slice of brown bread and a cup of coffee, and slept. I can sleep through anything. And then when everybody was asleep around about midnight, then I crawled out and studied.
And studied?
Yeah.
Not only that, you then won a scholarship to go and study in America to do...
That's years later down, you know.
Yes,
I did
yes.
matric and then A-levels through London University correspondence. Matric correspondence, A-levels correspondence, and then UNISA correspondence. Then I got a break and got myself a scholarship to Columbia.
And what was that like?
It was a good, you know, it really was a treat to be a real student sitting there and somebody telling you everything you need to know, and you raise your hand and you ask questions, and it's a live teacher right in front of you, and there's this whole collegiate of, you know, students with you. It was a treat for me.
And when did you know you wanted to be an author? You went on to do great work, which has won local and international awards.
You know, before I left South Africa, I was involved, like most people, in working for peaceful change in the country. So I belonged to various organizations.
The Women's Peace Movement
the Women's
in
Peace
1976.
Movement, you know,
Right.
Zenzele and the church and youth groups, you name it, I was there.
Yes, and you were a political activist as well.
you know,
in the middle
I
of
had
all of this.
Grootbek.
Yeah.
That's another word for me.
Writers usually do.
Yes. But, you know, gradually, I became aware just how successfully divided we were as a country. My last job in South Africa before I left, I taught Xhosa at Herschel Girls High. And there were all these bright, young, South African born and bred university graduates. And what they didn't know about me, about my life, and what it meant to be me was astounding. I'm no apologist for white South Africa, but I tell you now, lots of people didn't know what was happening in the country. They knew the laws, I knew the laws, but they didn't understand quite what it meant, what the law translated to in actual lived life.
Yes, which was a big part of the strategy, and that's why it worked for so long.
That's why it worked for so long.
And then you worked for the United Nations for 20 years and served there. What was involved in your work?
At first, I mean, I didn't tell anybody what I did at the United Nations until 1994. I worked in the anti-apartheid radio programs. Well, you don't broadcast that in South Africa, do you?
No.
It depended who was talking. It
These
was
were
either
underground.
I'm working for UNESCO or UNICEF, anything to do with education.
Wow.
But I worked in the anti-apartheid radio programs until 94 when apartheid ended, and then I worked in UN film archives until retirement.
And you were a speaker there, you did all kinds of things. And what did that experience teach you?
It taught me to respect my gift. I think it's about probably the only gift I have, the gift of words. I have to respect my gift and to take it seriously, because we all come with gifts to the world. Nobody, you know, God, the universe is not wasteful.
Yes.
Nobody is here unless they are needed, they are necessary. We are all unique, necessary, absolutely necessary for the world to heal, for the world to be what it needs to be. Everybody just needs to use themselves to the best of their ability. And the ability is something you are born with. You don't have to buy it.
Wow.
It's right there.
We're definitely going to learn a lot from you about how to use our best potential. Okay, but we're not done. We're going for a short break, and after the break, we're making a curry chicken tray bake. And we're back on the couch with Mom Sindiwe to chat about her most recent book, and we'll be giving away copies, so keep your phones handy and don't go away.
Express yourself.
Your next Magnum could be the one. Find a key with a unique code and stand a chance to win a shopping spree worth 100,000 Rand, plus designer fashion accessories by Makhetha-Kwinana. Unlock the M Collection.
Experience the world in a way less limited. Apply today at dinersclub.co.za.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. I'm about to make you drool, but before we get there, I think I've realized something about you, Clem, and you must be a Queen fan, right?
Oh my goodness, what's gonna happen? Okay,
Okay,
tell me.
so
What?
as if nothing ever matters, right? Because Curry on, curry on. We're going to be making a curry in the loft today, and we're making something a little bit different to a curry. We're actually going to be baking it this time. And I know I'm making you laugh because we can focus more on the loft and the chat around it because this dish is so easy to make.
It is absolutely so. Let's just start on it as we talk and make more wonderful jokes.
Terrible jokes. I'll keep
Wonderful
thinking
jokes.
of more, so go.
So a great way to get a lot out of your ingredients is to use spices.
Okay.
Spices are relatively cheap and they keep for a very long time.
Yes.
So we're going to make our own curry paste today.
Ah.
So we're going to start off with coriander seed and cumin seed and some chili flakes.
Okay.
So if
I'll
you
hold
can,
it for you.
Well, this is, I
Okay,
think
okay. Sorry.
You just
it's
take it.
yours,
You just
it's
take it. You
yours.
just
Okay,
take
no,
it.
do it.
Okay, so we can use a bit of salt, and that's going to be an abrasive agent as well as a seasonning
Okay,
agent.
cool.
So let me get that
An
in
abrasive
there.
agent, I'm assuming, is what's going to just kind of
Break it
cut
down.
into everything. Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to do the hard work today.
Okay, so wait, you haven't told me what you got in there. You've got cumin, coriander,
And salt.
and salt. But oh, is that all you're doing
That's
for
what
now?
we're doing.
Okay,
So you're
I
going to
see.
start breaking that down. As soon as you've got that down broken a little bit more, you can start adding our turmeric.
Okay.
And have we got enough salt in?
No
Let me do a
salt
little
in
more.
there,
Okay,
yeah.
you go crazy. Go,
There we
go,
go.
go, go, go. Little turmeric, garlic, and ginger.
Oh, I can
And-
smell this. You know what this smells like?
Tell me.
When you're making biltong. It's that
Because
coriander
you use
seed.
coriander. Exactly, and cumin as well. Sometimes you add cumin and
Yep.
coriander when you make biltong.
I also actually want to
I'm going to
sneeze 'cause
start. I'm going to start
chili.
on the vegetables. So this is a great way to use up those vegetables that are lurking in the back of your fridge or in the back of your cupboard.
Yes.
So I
we
mean,
know those. Those ones where you have to go, and there's like spider webs like fly off the back of
Okay,
them.
now throw those ones away.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got some carrots, and the tip of this one is cut your carrots. It's not that bad.
It's hectic.
Cut your carrots and your potatoes in the same size so they cook the same time.
Okay.
Carrots.
And that's the trick with all vegetables. If you are going to cut them kind of thickly sliced, you need to make sure that they're all the same size so they cook evenly.
That's great. You should write. You should have your own book.
Woo! Well, hello there. Book's coming. What's it going to be called? The Punchin. Puns in the kitchen. Punchin.
Moving along. So, potatoes in there. Just joking. I'd buy the book.
Thank
I'll buy
you,
the book.
thank you.
We're going to start off by cooking our potatoes and our carrots first because, as we spoke about, the ingredients taking different times to cook. We're going to use chicken breast today, and the chicken breast will cook a lot quicker than our
Yes.
vegetables. So we're going to start.
I'm done with this. What must I add to it?
There we go. Ginger, garlic, turmeric. What's not
Turmeric.
done?
So that
Your-
yellow stuff is turmeric.
Turmeric, exactly. That's going to give us a yellow color.
Ah.
And also a bit of flavor. So more carrots. And
Sure.
some red onion. We're going to slice that up and get that in there. Keep it chunky as well. And
Oh,
as
we
cooks,
like it chunky.
As it cooks in the oven, it's going to caramelize and become a little sweeter.
Nice. And obviously, if you don't have the red onions, that's fine. You may replace it with other ones, but just the red onion's got so much more sweetness to it, and it's such
true.
a delicious
And seeing
onion.
as we're talking about budget, you're right. If you don't have the red onion, go for the plain white one.
Can I add some of whatever this is?
That's oil, just to put it into a paste.
Okay, so
so
can I do it?
after, yes, go for it. After all your hard work,
Is that enough?
it is.
Cool.
After all your hard work, I've got one that I made earlier.
Like oh man, so maybe do all of this. you
No,
got one
I actually want to
made?
use it because that looks really good. So why don't you take your spoon and add some into the bowl of your paste?
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Sorry, I'm not focusing too much on this. Is this enough? Yeah.
It is, and we're just going to coat the vegetables in that paste. And if it's too dry, give it a little bit of oil just to bring it all together.
Oh,
Whack that on
lovely.
your roasting tray
Yum.
and get it in the oven. So let's
Okay.
just do that.
And how long does that go in the oven for?
That'll go in the oven for half an hour.
Okay.
Keep an eye on it. If it's a little chunky like that, maybe 25 minutes. But what you can do now, get your chicken breasts on the bone because it's cheaper to buy it that way.
Ah, budget.
Exactly. You kept some of your paste. Can you
Yes, I
add
have.
some of your paste to this bowl?
Sure.
And we're going to let the chicken marinate while our vegetables are roasting in the oven.
Delicious. So you're kind of roasting your vegetables in the same spices. So you can also keep the cleaning down to a minimum. You just use the same bowls, getting everything in the same pots and stuff there. Okay, delicious. So that we'll show you how to coat, and that also go into the oven for how long?
Half an hour till veggies are nice and roasted, getting the
180
color.
degrees.
Then you whack that in, another 20 minutes.
Delicious. Okay, that recipe on the shopping list is on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. It's very simple to find, and you can get all of those ingredients you need to go buy at the store and get making this ASAP. It's delicious, it's simple, and it is absolutely amazing. And it's right here on Afternoon Express. Bonnie's back on the couch.
Now, I'm back on the couch with some hot conversation with the iconic South African author, Sindiwe Magona, and we're chatting about her most recent book titled Chasing the Tales of My Father's Cattle. Now, Mother, you've positioned this book as a work of fiction, but it's actually a reality for many South African families. Why have you done this?
Well, it is fiction because none of the characters there are
Are real
people. But the story is a real South African story.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, one of the themes that it touches on is, I'm busy reading this book right now, and it touches on the idea of the man having to leave the homestead to go and work in the mines, him getting sick, leaving the relatives to look after children. Sometimes they're available and sometimes they're not. And just all the fact that we live in an industrialized country and some of those benefits are not filtering down to people in the rural areas.
Well, if you go to the Eastern Cape, most of the villages, I mean, all the villages really, are peopled by such families where the men are absent for most part of the year throughout their working lives.
Wow, wow. And what does this mean for families?
It means families really are more a myth than reality. It's a dream. You know, if 11 out of 12 months of a year, your husband is not present.
He's not your husband.
He is not really a husband. He is not really a father. And fatherhood has kind of disappeared in black family life. First, it was because of the influx control laws, and now it's become tradition, if you can call it that.
It's normal now.
It's normal.
Yeah,
You know, and it doesn't augur well for stability.
yes.
Family life is important because a family is the basic unit of the nation.
Yes.
If the family structure is in tatters, I doubt very much we are going to be able to have a strong nation.
Wow. Chasing the tails of my father's cattle, isn't that an idiom?
It's a Xhosa idiom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why did you call it that?
Because it kind of, and it just captures what I had in mind in writing the book. Chasing the tails of my father's cattle. In all Bantu peoples, cattle represented wealth, dignity, stability. They were much prized. And during warfare, among the spoils, cattle would be the first to be taken, slaves and, you know, women and children, that kind of thing. But even the most cowardly village, when the men saw its cattle being driven off, the cry would come out, Zem kinkomo magwalandini. Away go your cattle, you
Yes,
cowards.
yes.
And the cowards would have to kind of
Do something.
do something, find courage somewhere and chase after the people.
But they're cattle.
Yes, we were living
yes.
with it. Now, in today's life, I think instead of cattle, we have other standards. We have education, for instance, as the thing that represents wealth or a means out of poverty. Is the one short way of scrambling out of poverty. And I'm looking at the life of women,
Yes.
Black African women. And I'm thinking we have this stellar constitution, the whole world envies us and
Yes.
applauds. But is this a lived reality in terms of our lives as women?
Yes, yes.
Especially women in the rural areas. You know, I think both the law, religious institutions, and tradition have betrayed women.
Wow.
Those three things have combined to really betray women.
Yeah.
When today, in the 21st century, you can talk about ukutwala
Oh,
and
yes.
actually tell me this is tradition?
Yeah. You know, we can't talk about women without speaking about children. You have
Yeah.
a love for children and you have a love for writing children's books, and you've written
Yes.
some amazing ones. Where did
Yes.
your love for writing children's books start?
Because children are the seed, really. If there is going to be a tomorrow, it starts from the children.
The children.
The nurturing of those children, the raising of those, the minding the children. As a collective, one doesn't look after your own, your biological, you look after all
Because
the
the child
children.
is raised by the village. Yes.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait for you to taste our beautiful curry chicken bake.
That makes two of us. Thank you.
Today Today we're giving away copies of Sindiwe Magona's book, Chasing the Tales of My Father's Cattle. All you have to do is SMS the keyword books, your name and city, to 33728 to stand a chance to win. That's 33728. SMSs cost R1.50. T's and C's apply and can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za. After the break, we put the finishing touches on our chicken curry and we chat to sports scientist Cath Coupar about the importance of exercise for the whole family. Don't go away.
Express yourself.
Unlock the M Collection.
Another delicious recipe brought to you by Salati Sugar. Always good, always sweet.
Express yourself.
So welcome back to your favorite place to be on a Wednesday afternoon. It has to be on the Afternoon Express kitchen, well, in the kitchen, and we're making something so delicious and so simple. We're worried about your budget at home, so if you want to cook along with us today, the recipe you can find on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. We're baking a delicious chicken curry, and we put it in the oven. We've kind of roasted off those veggies for 40 minutes. We've added in the chicken for the last 20 minutes or so. It's still piping hot, steaming.
It is.
Smells so amazing. Now, where's the curry sauce?
You made the curry sauce. Was it curry
So
paste?
it's a curry paste. You flavored it with curry flavors,
There
but it's
we
not like
go.
a thick bubbling curry
No,
on
no,
its
no.
own.
We're not adding it to a
Okay.
pot or anything. And that's another great reason that this recipe works so well is because you pop it in the oven and you can do what you need to do and come back later. Really, that is why it works so well. So chicken is looking amazing.
It does look delicious. I just want to tuck into it right now.
Like I said, we're using chicken on the bone. If you're a bit worried about the bone, we are not, because it adds flavor. So if you are a bit worried, after cooking, you can just take the bone out. Chicken's...
You would have heard everyone say that always meat is better on the bone. I mean, that's like you
Absolutely.
said, it's where all the flavor lies.
Not only chicken, that's steak, that's lamb, that's every type of meat you get.
And
on
dude,
the
we're
bone.
South Africans. We do not do this. Oh, knife and forks is my No, we pick it up and we eat it with our hands. That's how we do.
So if you want to go all South African and just use your hands for this dish, you could, because I mean, chunky vegetables, chicken.
Why not? Okay, so you're just basically plating it now. So the dish is done. So if
It's
you guys
done.
obviously are making along with us, you're wondering what happens next. Literally nothing happens next. You just put
That's
it on a
not
plate
true,
and make it look
Danilo.
delicious.
Why are you even saying that?
What is
So
next?
we've got
Seriously.
the chicken and we've got the vegetables, all in one platter, because it's all about feasting, all about getting together. So we're gonna add some coriander.
Delicious.
Okay, I'm not even gonna chop it. I'm just gonna tear it over.
Well, when it comes to these sort of dishes, it's coriander. You have to have it in there.
I know you're not a big fan of coriander, but by the end of the year, I
No,
will
no,
have you.
we've said this. I'm learning to love coriander.
Learning to
'cause
love
it's
it,
got those
okay.
fresh flavors. There's a lot of heat thrown in here, a lot of really deep flavors that are in this chicken and in that veggie. So that coriander is really going to lift it and make it nice and light. So
That's
I'm very
exactly why
happy
we're
with
using
that.
it. And we're using some plain yogurt.
Yummy.
Just because, like you said, about that heat and that richness that's in there.
Yes, soothe it all out.
So all the yogurt does is just cools it down and actually brings it together, adds another level because it's quite sour.
Yes.
You know we normally hit everything with lemon. We love lemon in this loft, okay? That's exactly what the yogurt's going to do for us today. It's got a slight bitterness,
Yes, a
and that's what's
tang.
going to give us that lift in the dish.
Looks so amazing. I can't wait to serve it to our guests today. They're going to be so excited. They're never going to want to leave our loft, and that'll be absolutely amazing because I could really chat to our guests all day long today. They are so, so inspiring. You're inspiring too and make delicious dishes, but they're also very, very inspiring. Get this recipe on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and also download the shopping list. So you can literally just go to the shops with that list, go and find the things on the shelves, put in your basket, and you have this delicious meal prepared for you simply right here on Afternoon Express. Now, if you want to engage with us, Bonnie's got details on how to do that.
That food looks absolutely delicious and my mouth is watering already. And if you have any questions or a message for Mum Sindiwe, we are live and she will be with us for the rest of the show. So call us right now on 083 91 33728. For now, though, let's join Jeannie in the garden for a cup of tea. Well, again, that number to call us on is 083 913 33728. 083 913 3728. Please call us to chat to Mum Sindiwe. Jeannie.
Welcome to another installment of the Fresh Pack Natural Goodness series. Today we're talking to sports scientist Cath Coupar about the importance of exercise for the whole family and instilling a love of exercise into kids at an early age. Welcome, Cath.
Thank you.
So a recent study in America showed that children, or 75% of children between the ages of 5 and 10 get less than an hour of exercise per day. That is terrifying. Are those stats as bad in South Africa?
It's actually quite bad, if I can be honest with
Really?
you. Yes. So we've actually got something called the Healthy Active Kids Report Card.
Yeah.
And the latest version of that actually shows that less than 50% of South African kids are active. Less than 50% actually participate in physical education. and only really around 50% are participating in sport. So it's really not looking good at the moment. On top of that, what we know from recent surveys is that about 17% of kids between the ages of 1 to 9 are overweight or obese in South Africa as well.
That is absolutely shocking. But why is that? Are kids sitting on their couches all day? Are they playing TV games? Are they, on technology instead of being out in the playgrounds?
Absolutely. It's actually a bit of a shocker. I come back from the days of playing out in the garden. Today, kids are really spending so much time in front of the screens that it's almost impossible, really, for us to get them away and to go and play, which they should be doing.
I suppose it's not just that kids are exposed to all of their technology. It's not just their eyes that are getting damaged, but the whole principle of just sitting all day.
Absolutely, and I'm actually guilty of that myself. I tend to slouch, and the problem really with kids that sit in front of computers or screens in general the whole day is that they tend to slouch, and that really is just the head and the shoulders sort of buckling forward. And the long-term effect can be headaches, it can be backache, it can lead to heart and lung problems, gastrointestinal problems, and even damage to the rib cage. So really that whole sort of concentrated posture of leaning forward just leaves them in that position. And the best cure is obviously to limit screen time, but also in between, get them to stand up and move around, even if it's briefly, to just bring them back out of that posture.
That's so dangerous, actually, but how can we change it? We live in a world where technology is around us all the time. How can we encourage them to kind of not be in front of the screens and outside playing?
Well, I think, especially when it comes to families and parents, it's quite important for us to set some guidelines. And when it comes to screen time specifically, there are some guidelines that we look at. For 0 to 2s, for example, we say no screen time. There's no real benefit for them to be in front of screens. For 3 to 6-year-olds, for example, 1 hour a day is sufficient. And if you really want to use it as a way to kind of just chill them out, you can do that in bite-sized chunks. When it comes to the older age groups, we really say even up to the age of 18, 2 hours a day is really quite sufficient, although the demands from a school point of view is quite hectic.
Exactly.
They have to spend a lot of time in front of the screens. So when it comes to that, limit the screen time as the first response. But then on top of that, make sure that they play, especially with the younger kids. Get them out there and get them to just do what kids do best, and that's play.
Would you recommend the whole family gets involved to make it a little bit easier?
Oh, absolutely. I think the role of the parent is absolutely vital. It is so important that parents are the role models to their children. You can't really tell a child what to do without showing them what it means to be doing these things. And I think, especially as a family unit, if you're setting goals together, if you're looking for opportunities to hold each other accountable almost, then really it becomes easier for parents to ask their kids and to encourage their kids to get active. So really, families should try and exercise together, and it doesn't have to cost much money either.
It really is just about maintaining a healthy household.
For sure. I think, as part of all the exercise, we've spoken about holistic lifestyles. In terms of making sure that kids are adequately hydrated, it's about preparation as well. So really in the day, make sure that there's something nice and cool in the fridge, a nice bottle that kids can grab easily of some nice flavoured rooibos tea. It's such a quick win, and it makes sure that they're not grumpy and that they're energized.
You're the National Junior Member Manager at a national gym. Why would you say gyms are important for kids as well?
Well, I think it really instills habits early on. We know that people who tend to go to the gym tend to stick with those habits, especially because it's a social environment and we're motivated by others. But certainly, especially when it comes to kids, if the gym has a kids facility, it gives parents the opportunity to train while kids are also getting active and having fun. So it really is a win-win situation for both.
When you live an active lifestyle, it's almost really difficult to imagine how people don't. So what tips do you have for families to inspire them to try some new activities?
Well, I think keep it simple, first of all. It's so important. Kids, especially when they're younger, they just need to develop the fundamental movement skills. And really the key word there is fun. So when it comes to that, be creative, do things in the backyard, take the dog for a walk, build an obstacle course, fly a kite, for example. You can build that yourself. So it doesn't mean that you have to find a complicated, time-consuming, money-spending activity to do. Be creative where the whole family does it together. But then equally, there are plenty of things out there, especially in South Africa. It's such an outdoorsy environment.
There's an abundance of things to do outside here.
Yeah, and so really families should look for a way to get outside as well and to get active.
What other activities would you recommend, I suppose, that would inspire families to want to be outdoors more?
Well, there's so many things. As I mentioned, there's lots of backyard stuff, obviously very easy, don't have to leave the house. But certainly there's plenty out there, things like putt-putt, going for a hike, going for a walk, ice skating, go-karting, building kites and flying them, building sandcastles and having a competition. Just the act of actually going and fetching sand and water and building sandcastles is active. So really, you know, the sky's the limit when it comes to doing outdoor stuff with your kids.
I think if parents set those boundaries and set those, you know, if they show that they're enjoying the exercises, their kids will naturally flow into it.
Yes, definitely. As we said, the parent really is the role model. Actually, quite an important thing for parents to remember is that kids need to be active about 60 minutes on most days of the week.
Okay.
And we talk about moderate to vigorous intensity during those sessions. Those can be broken down into bite-sized chunks, especially for the younger children. You know, they're obviously not going to be able to go for 60 minutes. And on top of that, it's important for parents to realize that in between all of that, they need to take active rest breaks, if you like, and that they remain hydrated. And, you know, it's very simple. Take a break. Let's have a nice sip of cool water or a nice, refreshing, robust drink, for example. I think the key thing here really is that when it comes to families and the responsibility of the parents, we know that if parents encourage their children to be active, the children will be active. And something we know fundamentally is that if kids are active now, they will always grow up to be active adults. And by establishing that culture and that sort of healthy habit in them early on, just sets them up for a very healthy, holistic future.
And then from there, I think it'll just steamroll into healthy activities and healthy behaviours the rest of the day.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
And thank you for helping us to make healthy lifestyles within our family's reach. Keep them healthy and happy with good exercise choices and keep them hydrated with the natural goodness of Fresh Pack Rooibos.
Express yourself.
Fresh Pack. Goodness comes naturally.
Express yourself.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express on SABC3. We're joined now by two creative women who've taken on the toy industry with their very own South African-inspired creations. Makhetha-Kwinana, who created the Momppy Mpoppy doll, and Molemo Khomu, who created the Ntombenhle doll. Welcome to the loft, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for
What
having
an
us.
incredible idea. What inspired you to make these dolls?
Well, I guess it was a lack of, you know, seeing that,
A
you know,
gaping hole.
Gaping holes, no diversity whatsoever. The toy market was just like, psh, it's not changing. It's still the same characters, still the same toys, still the same dolls. So, I mean, this is Africa. I mean, like, this is South Africa, especially. Quite diverse country in Africa. So, we just needed to have that representative, you know, that toy that represents, you know, the African beauty, the African princess. And I just thought, you know what, you're going to sit down and complain about it or do something about it. So, yeah, we went for it.
I'm hit with so much nostalgia around the name because we all grew up calling our dolls Mpoppy, right?
Yes.
And your doll is called Momppy Mpoppy.
Yeah.
Why that name?
For that very same reason. Every South African can relate to the word Mpoppy. So Momppy was just wanting to just play with the word Mpoppy, just play with the words. If you can just see, it's just the words just spin around.
And Momppy is so cute.
It's
and
catchful,
news.
and the kids love it. It just, you know, it has to be catchy, it has to be fun. So it just worked perfectly for us. Yes.
And yourself, darling, why did you decide to make a doll?
Well, I suppose the same as Maite, it was also a lack of not having. And when I had my first daughter, the first thing I did when she turned 18, we specifically wanted her to have a black doll. And I went to shops and I could not find. And what I found was not what I wanted because it was the most hideous doll I found at the time. And I looked and I said, no, I don't want my daughter to wake up to this particular doll because it was scary. And I thought, no, we can't be seen as looking like this because that's not how we look.
It's not a true representation.
So it's not a true representation of African women or African girls.
African beauty.
So, exactly. So I also went out, you know, started looking around for African dolls or black dolls. And with my mom traveling and family overseas, everybody found a doll either in the US, my mom found in Germany. So, you know, there were just dolls which were beautiful, just not in South Africa. So I also went out, started searching for manufacturers, and that's how Ntombenhle started.
And why the name Ntombenhle?
Because we are beautiful African women. You know, hence the name Ntombenhle basically is Ntombenhle. So you are a beautiful African lady or a beautiful African girl.
What do you think it does to the psyche of a child when they play with the doll that represents them?
You know, play is so pivotal
In a beautiful
child's-
way, too.
Exactly. Because if you cannot ignore how important or significant play is in a child's development, you know, that is their first interaction with what is beautiful, something they fall in love with, they love so much. So if it's something that doesn't look like them, now they don't associate themselves with anything beautiful. So if they have something that is referred to as a doll, as a princess, and that is beautiful, and actually looks like them, has the same hair as them, so they see themselves as that part of that world, as part of that beauty, and it just starts having it boosting that self-love, that self-esteem. So even, I mean, even child psychologists have proved this, and we just I think we can share this, and we are very grateful to be part of knowing that we are creating that new generation of self-love, and children just love themselves as they are.
As they are.
Yes.
And what's Ntombentle's story? She wears traditional
Yeah,
wear?
Ntombenhle came in traditional outfits. Also, it was also just to highlight our different
All the
African
different traditional culture.
attires or cultures that we have, because I found that even us as adults, we don't know how you would expect a Zulu woman or a Ndebele woman or a Swati lady to be, you know, in their traditional regalia, what it looks like. And it was also more educational for us as adults and more also for kids. You know, so it's, and when they see it like, oh, Ifananami or something, so that is what you actually wanted to also perceive and show the kids and also adults, because not we lacking somewhere in our own tradition.
I noticed Ntombentle's eyebrows are on fleek as well. Any challenges that you experienced through the manufacturing process? What are some of the walls that you came up against, if any?
I think when color, I think getting the color right for me was very important, because I think I had 4 samples backwards and forwards. The color is wrong. It's either too dark or it's too light. Until I said, okay, this is the color, but then the hair is not right. So you've got all of those, because remember, I'm manufacturing in China. You know, so you've got all of those challenges. You need them to understand the culture or the looks or everything.
Right.
You know, you
All
want to
those
get it right.
cross-cultural
Yes.
dynamics.
So
Yes,
because they don't understand. I mean, there's more. I also left them with a book for them to sort of look at and read, and so that helped quite a bit.
Okay, and we also caught up with some of the ladies who work for you, who finish the dolls, and this is what they had to say.
I started working on Ntombenhle last year, 2015.
Before I was making the beads and selling the wooden stuff.
I started working on the Ntombenhle last year, late March. I'm very, very happy because they are selling very well.
I don't have got stress to make dolls.
It feels great because I see that the people love the dolls very much.
And your own daughters, how have they reacted to playing with the dolls?
Well, I don't have a daughter, but I've got lots of nieces. I call myself a super auntie. And not just them, the kids around, the reaction when we're in shops, when we're doing promotional work.
What do they say?
They just, you know, at that moment, I can't even explain it to you, when the child just looks at the exact same words. It's you know, it's just like me, how they love it, you know, and how even kids of a different race would be like, it looks like my best friends. I mean, South Africa is a diverse country.
Isn't that amazing?
So they love that this looks like Tata from school, my best friend from next door. So it's just a wonderful thing. It's like a new dynamic, and it's just priceless.
Yes, and the industry itself, how have they received you?
We have shaken them a bit because they were naysayers.
Mixed feelings?
Mixed feelings, of course, because I'm sure you came up with this. We're saying black dolls don't sell, black dolls scare black kids, whatever. So, you know, obviously you need to learn from that and find out why don't they sell. So obviously now business strategies start applying and find out what is it that goes wrong with the market and try to fix that as well, you know. And other, you know, the larger maybe retailers were more resistant, like, but then the independent stores just took on, you know, they took us on, and yeah, they're getting orders all the time, and it's just so, it goes on and on, and it's just a beautiful relationship. It's bigger and bigger suppliers, so we're not complaining, we just want to go bigger.
Awesome. And where can we buy your dolls?
I'm online at ntombenhledolls.co.za, so you can either email me or get onto Facebook, inbox me. You know, I'm also in New York and London, so there's just different websites to get into to get Ntombenhle dolls.
Wow. And you?
Same. We're also online. You can also email us via www.momppy.co.za, and all our social media, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, we're all Momppy Mpoppy, and also shops as well, and the US, Netherlands, UK. So when you go online, then you can find out all that information.
That's incredible. We are giving away some hampers containing one of each of the dolls. And to win one, SMS the word express, your name and city to 33728. SMSs cost R1.50. T's and C's apply and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za.
So the Willie doesn't stop right there, South Africa, right here on Afternoon Express. Remember that there are only 10 days left to enter our March competition for the Diners Club and Afternoon Express golfing experience. Hurry now and go to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, and click on the giveaways page. Fill in the entry form and you could be one of our lucky winners. Here's what you can win. This March, Diners Club South Africa and Afternoon Express are giving away an exclusive once-in-a-lifetime golfing experience to 21 lucky viewers at 3 of the top courses around the country. In Durban, a golf clinic with the resident golfing coach at the prestigious Zimbali Country Club. In Cape Town, a clinic with Etienne Olivier at the Steenberg Golf Estate. And in Johannesburg, a golfing clinic with top-notch golfing coach Martin Brinde at the Royal Johannesburg and Kensington Golf Club. Each winner will also be treated to a luxurious lunch and golfing voucher for 2. Visit afternoonexpress.co.za/giveaways to enter. T's and C's apply and also are available on our website. You have lived, laughed, loved, achieved, received, and been rewarded. What's next? Join Diners Club now.
Five Roses blends only the top 2 leaves of the finest Ceylon teas. Because nobody makes better tea than you and Five Roses.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So it is the middle of the week. We thought the best way to keep you that energy up for the rest of the week, to get through to the weekend, is to inspire you with some amazing guests. So we're really honored to have all of you join us in the loft today. It's been so cool listening to your stories. Although I've been on the sideline cooking hard in the kitchen, I have been lending an ear listening to all of these things. But I'd be very keen to hear what you in South Africa have to say to our guests today. And we do have a caller, Komotso from Joburg. Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
Doing so well, and you?
I have a question for Mama Sindiwe Magona.
Go for it.
Mama, hi.
Hi.
I just want to say we really love your work, and it's much appreciated. The question that I have for you is, would you ever consider having any of your works translated into your native Xhosa tongue?
I actually did translate my first book to my children's children into isiXhosa. And all the folk tales, I think about 13 folk tales published 2014 and last year, they are in all the official languages. I think it's 11.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I've just found the English version, so that's good to hear. I'll be searching for them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your call, Komotso.
Thanks,
Really
Komotso.
appreciate all of that feedback and commentary. But is this new book going to be translated into any other languages?
Well, actually, I have a volunteer to translate it into Afrikaans.
Wow.
Angie Kroch.
Oh, yes, Angie Kroch.
We need to find a publisher who wants to publish it in Afrikaans.
Nudge out there in South Africa.
Publishers out there. That shouldn't be tough.
I hope not.
Yes, absolutely, because I'd also love to give it a read. That'll be really, really awesome.
And next year, I would like to do it in isiXhosa too.
Fantastic. We have another call on the line, Lulamo. Welcome to the show.
Lulama. Hello, Lulama.
Lulama, go for it. Do you have a question for our guests?
Yes, I do.
Go for it.
Mama Magona, I've got a question for you, man. I've came to a stage where I've reached my the stage that I just couldn't even afford to provide for my kids, and I ended up losing my kids. The father of the kids took the kids away from me last month, and I've been raising these kids all along. So I just need a fresh start. I just need someone to mentor me, to give me life coaching. Will you be able to assist that?
It would be an honor and a privilege.
Yes.
You can get my my SMS,
Yeah.
my, what is it?
Contact details.
My contact details, S as in sugar, Magona at
Yes,
mweb.co.za.
We've also got all of your details as well. So what we're going to do is also post those details and get them available for you. So please stay on the line and we'll get those details for you. And we really are hoping that, well, first of all, congratulations and well done for taking the step to
Yes.
wanting to take control of your life. I mean, that is the most important
That's
part.
a very brave step and it's essential. You have to look at where you are and you start from there. Power to you.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Please stay on the line. And thank you so much for tuning into Afternoon Express. I'm glad we could help in some very small way. Wow, inspiring.
And to our ladies, do you think we can look forward to a more diverse toy industry in South Africa, judging from your experience?
I think we will. I mean, also the ultimate goal really is to, I think at some point on Twitter, somebody did tweet us and asking if we ever gonna do anything in South Africa, because I think I found with me, people are asking, people overseas will say, but this is just saying it's a South African doll, but it is made somewhere else. Can we please have something that is
Produced here.
authentic, that is, you know?
I have an even more important question to ask. When is there going to be like the Ken version?
Of course there is.
I'm tanned enough, all right? I'm tanned enough. We can make it.
You can assist.
Are you going to make a male doll?
No, well, me specifically, my company, Childish, right? We are going to have other boy toy characters. You know, we're going to develop other characters.
Boy
for
toys.
specific years. No, not that one.
As in toys. Not Ben 10.
Don't take it there.
We totally
As in,
get
like
you.
toys that are meant for boys, and like so we develop other characters, but we're
Awesome.
not trying to mate hook up. No.
I see. Good stuff. Guys, it's such a cool show that we're having on today on Afternoon Express. So make sure you join us again tomorrow and tune in early, because during the first 15 minutes of the show, we're going to be showing you step by step exactly how to make a roast vegetable cheesecake with basil oil. If it's got you intrigued, I don't think anything else will. This food looks amazing.
Yes, it does. I can't wait to taste it. And I can't wait for you to taste it.
Yeah.
But to you guys at home,
Good night. Happy
thank you
eating.
so much for joining
Thank
us.
you. Thank
See you
you.
tomorrow.
Another feel-good production.
Hi YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Join the Afternoon Express family by subscribing to our channel right here. And we'll keep you up to date with all our recipes and of course our fabulous episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment and share this video. We do love it when you express yourself.